In 2021, Unusual Whales did a 2020 Senate report. It showed that senators mostly traded following COVID briefings, especially Republicans. Millions was sold and purchased. In 2021, there was no difference. Senators traded a lot. So many politicians traded, from new and old, Republican and Democrat, pro-trading and anti-trading, lobbied and not. Let's follow their trades for this 2021 to see who are the best traders in the United States Congress. In a tradition that seems to cross party boundaries, many politicians traded in 2021. Here are the top who beat the market. At the very top, you can see Austin Scott, the Republican representative from Georgia. Next is Brian Mast, the Republican representative from Florida. Dan Crenshaw, a common face in 2021, is number 5, followed by Nancy Pelosi, who was number 6 this year in 2021. There are 35 who beat the market too, from Mo Brooks to Dean Phillips to Tommy Tuberville to Thomas Carper. Comparing 2020 to 2021, you see they traded options more than ever before. Looking more in depth into the months, we see that Senate Republicans did major buying at the beginning of the year, coinciding with the start of Biden's term. Meanwhile, August was a big month for House Democrats' stock purchases. September to November saw huge stock sales in Congress, mostly in Microsoft, Datadog, PayPal, and Nvidia. In the Senate, the top 10 stocks bought were infrastructure and tech related, like CLF and X. When we look specifically at the top 10 stocks preferred by the House, we see notable tech stocks like Microsoft and Google, as well as oil and gas stocks. Now, the general public has become aware since the 2020 report of Nancy Pelosi's proficient option trading. There are a couple other congressional members who also traded options in 2021. Most notably is House Democrat Josh Gottheimer. We can see that he bought and sold over $60 million in calls alone. Let's look at a list of elected officials who filed late financial disclosures in 2021. That is, more than 45 days late. It's interesting to note Senator Tommy Tuberville's 132 trades that were disclosed late. Apparently, he suggested that he didn't know the procedure, the consequence of which was only a $200 single fine. Let's see Congresspeople's response to the report.
I was looking through it. Who does run as a third party for you? Because you're listed as one of the most frequent traders in Congress. One of the sites I was looking at showed that you had 134 trades just in the first quarter of 2021. Who's making those decisions?
Yeah, I saw that news report, and that's news to me because I've got an investment firm that does it. It's handed over. I literally have no idea what they do. So that's up to them what they buy and sell. And I heard about that too and had no idea. And I think that's the way it should be, right? Hands off, third party, no decision making from a member of Congress.
Let's look a bit into the traders themselves too. We can see that Representative Austin Scott, if you remember who was top of the list, had the biggest returns with a bet on fuel cell energy, or FCell. He had 2 returns greater than 500%. Interestingly, he's also on the subcommittee of Commodity Exchanges, Energy, and Credit. As you can see, many are on his Twitter asking for financial tips. One says, "I'm down pretty bad. Can you open up a premium feed?" Second on the 2021 report was Brian Mast. Brian Mast's Tilray, or TLRY, 563% return is pretty unusual, especially before voting in support of the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, or MORE, in late 2020. Following the report, around the world people discussed the results. From Korea to Germany, retail traders and their issues were starting to be heard. And this was not seen as a political issue. This was a question, as discussed in the articles, of optics, of political members trading on the companies that directly affect. In this way, I leave you with the response of Dan Crenshaw as he was responding directly to the Unusual Whales Congress report on the American Savage podcast.
There is one topic that I definitely want to get straight from the horse's mouth on this one. It wasn't very long ago that Nancy Pelosi was asked a question in regards to can sitting members of Congress, or should they be allowed to have direct involvement in the trading in the stock market and things such as that. And she said, yes, it's a capitalist society. She supports that. And there was an article that was just published about yourself. I'm pretty sure you're probably aware of this. It basically talked about, I'd seen some Turning Point people posting about this and said, this is coming from Texas Signal saying Dan Crenshaw's stock trading yielded the 5th highest return in Congress, basically pointing out that your campaign had received a donation from Boeing, they had lobbied, things such as that. Where do you stand on the number twofold question? Do you believe that sitting members of Congress should be allowed to trade in the stock market, even though you kind of have direct insight and somewhat control over how that flow goes and which government favored corporations. You get where I'm going. Let's start with that one first. Where do you stand on that?
I mean, I think it'd be fine if you wanted to ban individual stock trading. Notice I said individual stocks.
Right.
What of course,
as opposed to what?
As opposed to ETFs, indexes. You know, I'm kind of neutral on it. Like, if you want only millionaires and billionaires to run for Congress, then keep making sure that we can't raise our pay, that we can't get a housing stipend, that we have to just spend or pay rent in two different places. That's fine. If you want to, if that's what you want to support, but just keep in mind that no one will run for Congress because you have no way to better yourself.
Do you agree that politicians should trade while in office? Leave a comment below.